Stop. Sorry about those difficulties on Baby Friday, man. I mean, we was grooving right now talking about the Astros and breaking down the small ball effect. You give you guys a chance to come on back into the room and share the show, if possible. That would be a great thing. You guys can share the show to your timelines, to your friends, and whatnot. And we're gonna see. We're coming on my end right now.
Down the small ball
Let's see.
effect.
Get this. There we go. Now, you guys waiting. I see Rod Wells. I see Archie. I see D Holcomb. Alfio, we back in there. Yes, we back. We back, guys, and grinding, of course, as well. And we were talking about the Astros in the small ball. I said, don't be surprised if with one out, right, or less, and when the Astros have runners in scoring position, don't be surprised if they lay down a bunt. Because when small ball is working in baseball, you try to go and maximize all effects of small ball. And that's the thing about it. And what small ball does, it opens up plenty of the opportunities for the long ball. It will come. Because if you're hitting the ball hard, then in some cases the ball is going to jump off the bat. And that's the thing about it. I mean, the Atlanta Braves caught themselves making some of those very errors that the Astros would make, blunders. Making some of those, think about it, little bitty things. Like, a guy not covering third base, the catcher or the pitcher not covering third base on the relay coming in from the outfield. Then the pitcher goes to third base, right? Third baseman is doing the line for the outfielder to throw it in. First baseman goes and back up the back catcher. And that's normally how it goes. Second baseman is directing traffic. He's letting the cutoff know what to do as it coming in. I mean, those are components that in baseball you get to see a lot of that stuff. So, but once again, this is the way you look at it right now. Astros and Braves, they resumed the series on Friday. The first pitch will come out about 10 minutes after 7 Central Time, right? It's going to be 10 minutes after 8 East Coast Time. The weather is expected to not be favorable. I watched the weather report this morning. There's a storm that's coming and sliding through Georgia if it hasn't started already. So, and they doesn't have an enclosed roof. So this game could be intriguing to say the least. And I see Rod Wells. Let me see. Let's get Rod. He says, what are the Astros going to do with Alvarez in Atlanta with no DH? True at outfield. And I mentioned that yesterday, Rod. Alvarez, they're not taking his bat out of the lineup. The expendable bat is center field. And so that means Alvarez goes over to left field. Left field is the short corner, and that's the short field. Not much ground to cover for him. Brantley will go from left field to right field. Brantley has more speed. Alvarez isn't slow now. He's just big. Didn't you guys see Alvarez steal a base last night? Did y'all miss that? That's a big youngster, but he has some wheels for a big cat. So center field, you can't afford right now to take Tucker's bat out of the lineup. Tucker is old faithful right now with the Astros. So you take Tucker, put him in center right now. Have Siri on deck to bring him in at any moment as a pinch runner. If we can stay and maintain a lead through the middle of the game. Then let Siri come on in. If Tucker's not doing well, let's say Tucker goes 0 for 2, right? 0 for 3. Then you go it on, you make that move and get Siri in. Because Siri, his confidence, he's one of those feisty young fellas. He's feisty. And he takes a lot of gambles at the plate. But his defense, and he's fast. Probably the fastest guy on the team, without question. So that's the thing that you look for with this Astros thing. Hey, look at it like this. The Astros and the Braves, think of it like this. It's a 5-game series now, but Atlanta has home field advantage. Ain't nothing lost. It's a 5-game series. Atlanta has home field advantage, but the series is 3-2. Right? 3-2. So whoever get the 3 wins the series. It's a 5-game series. So know what that means? Atlanta, if you don't win all 3 of your home games, then guess what? The series, you have to come back to Houston. I like those odds. That crowd. I was downtown last night. I didn't go to the game, but I watched it downtown. Had another college coach in town, and so we fellowshipped a little bit, and watched the ball game. But man, downtown was off the chain. The weather was perfect to open that roof. They hadn't opened the roof, guys, in years for a playoff game, well, a World Series game. You never need to say the least. And Rod Will, the pitching matchup favors the Braves. The pitching matchup has favored the Braves in every damn game we played. It's going to favor the Braves in every game we play. The hitting, if you got shaky pitching, both bullpens are proving to be unstable, to say the least. So if they're unstable, then hitting is going to come into play. You're not going to hold these guys down. Think about it. The Astros scored 2 runs in game 1. I don't think the Astros have scored 2 runs or less this whole entire playoffs. Maybe once. The whole playoffs this season. You're not holding those guys down like that. Remember, even when the blowout came when they did 2 grand slams and scored 9 runs, it was, I think, 9 runs in one game. I think it was 9, and they scored 9 in another one or something like that, or 12. Hell, the Astros still scored 5 runs in one game and 6 runs in the other. That's enough offensive productivity to get that thing rocking. It is. There's Hatter on the Facebook feed, guys. So he's mobile. He has to go and go and run an errand and get up out of it. So we just take the baton and keep this thing keep it rocking. And we were talking Astros, indeed, and a gallant performance last night. I mean, just great all around. It was Altuve, that home run in the 7th inning, guys. Did you guys know he's now tied for 2nd of all time for the most home runs in the postseason? I think he has 22 home runs. Tied with Bernie Sanders. He and Bernie Sanders are tied. And Altuve, he's a Hall of Famer already. The 2017, the more the Astros win, the least 2017 matters. And the thing about it, they just need more motivation. Need more people. But you notice how the media go. Every game, the team that wins, all of a sudden that's a favorite. And Dusty Baker, he says that he knows that as well. He mentioned that as well. He mentioned it. He said he had text messages from people. Asked, man, is everything all right? It's like, man, dude, this is a series, a 7-game series. And people lost their heads after the first game. Oh man, is it going to be okay? The Astros, what's wrong? Fine, guys, they're fine. Now, what I want to do, of course, how to talk basketball and those Lakers. It's still early in the season, but let me tell you what I noticed already. Russell Westbrook is going to be the fall guy for whatever lack of success this Laker team have. I think whether he can handle this type of possible darts, these darts that'll be thrown at him this season or not, is yet to be seen. Because it's different when you're playing in your home city and the darts come out. When you're playing at home, it's different. Because that means you go to a restaurant, you're going to hear something. You go to this, your kinfolk and your relatives going to hear something. Your nephew's going to have fights in elementary school because some kid that repeated something his daddy said. It just spews all the way through. We'll see how he handles this. And somebody's from the Lakers must stand up and step up and get his back. That's the thing. The Laker team is being mum on it. Instead of just understand, even if we know he's a turnover machine right now, leading the league in turnovers, we understand that. But at the same time, you still have to, as a team, rally around him, say, we got you, publicly, to let people know, hey man, we don't worry about y'all. We got Russ. But you got to win. Got to win. And when they find the right click, this team could be scary if and when they start to click, and that's the Lakers. So we definitely, Melvin Dews, I see him reading one of the comments that Melvin Dews is saying, and I'll put it on the screen for you guys on YouTube to see it. And you see, this is what Melvin Dews is saying. He says, Jim, he's doing the same thing Melo did when he got to OKC. How is that Melo ain't got in his ear? I don't know the relationship between Russ and Melo. And that's the thing. I don't know the relationship. But somebody, more than one person, will have to step up and embrace in the public eye and say, you know what, we got Russ. We gonna get y'all. You know what? Keep on. You know, pull the Houston Astros more. Give us some motivation. But they're not doing that. The mental part is taking over for right now, or is winning right now for the Lakers, or the Lakers in regard to the lack of the mental part. Now, also in a few minutes, I'm going to share with you guys the college report that I promised to give you guys on today. But I'm gonna need you guys to share the show. We got to share this show right now and get it popping. So if you guys, once again, share the show right now to your groups, to your timelines. Let's get this thing rocking so that we can get into this conversation that we've been waiting to have all week. And that is about this, a college report on the amount of Division I players from the state of Texas on various teams nationwide. I'm reading the comments right now. And Kim says she would rather have, and Chuck McCown, they would rather have Rondo on the floor over Russ. It's going to take a time, but you can't throw Russ under the bus right now. Throw Russ under the bus right now. Time, just be patient with it. That's what I'm thinking. You Laker fans, I know it hurts. Just be patient with it. Also, Chicago Bulls, they host the New York Knicks tonight. For the first time in a mighty long time, that game has some fears to end with it in the regular season. In the regular season, the Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks has value in the matchup right now. And it's going to be intriguing. The Bulls are 4-0, and of course the Knicks are 3-1 this season. That game will be played in Chicago. Two teams that could very well, I'm not sure at this point if you're ready to crown each one of them as a favorite to go to the finals. But on a bell curve, we're talking about 4 or 5 games in, guys. It's a fraction. That's not. But if the playoffs ended today, they are very well much good enough to keep another team from getting there. And a shot at Thaddeus Moody says he's going to be at the game tonight. And now, what I'm going to do is we'll go and pay a quick bill, and then we'll come right back. We'll talk some amateur basketball. We'll talk a little recruiting. We'll answer all your questions. And then we're going to talk, of course, first and foremost, we're going to introduce and I'll share with you the college report. You guys hang right there, and we'll be right back after these messages.
How are you going to be on the stage? How are you going to get from off the bench to on the floor? If you love basketball, you got to be passionate about what you do. You can't just play just to play.
If you really want it, you'll need to make sacrifices. You'll face doubt. You will fail. Whether or not you succeed, that choice is yours.
H-Town, let's get down at the Aldine ISD M.O. Campbell Center. High school boys basketball season opener powered by Boost Mobile. November 12th and 13th, 12 games in 2 days, including the Shadow Creek Sharks, will battle the nation's #1 ranked public school, the Duncanville Panthers. Undefeated state champ Beaumont United will take on Cy Ranch. November 12th and 13th at the M.O. Campbell Center, the season opener powered by Boost Mobile. For schedule and $10 tickets, go to rcsports.com.
And we're back to the Chop Shop, your midday sports happy hour, the best 120 minutes of your day. As promised, we'll go right into the college section. And you guys know every year we do the magazine. We're in the process of doing so right now as we speak. That's the magazine. Is going to be released on November the 12th at the season opener. That's at the Campbell Center. You guys can get your copies of the magazine. It's going to be somewhere near 100 pages. All color, glossy color on 100-pound paper, a real publication. It's going to have schedules inside of it, district previews, team rankings, updated player rankings, some very, very, very good articles. We also have the most important part of the magazine to me is the college section. Is the scholarship section. We're going to give you over 24 free scholarships that any student can apply for. And that's going to be cool because you don't even have to play sports to get these scholarships. And we always encourage people. This is a very valuable part. We've looked up every scholarship. They're going to be in alphabetical order by the dates. You can apply for these scholarships. Free, we call that section free money, the most important part of the magazine. Also, in there will be a very good article on mental health and with tips on how to identify if your kid, we have a doctor that came and wrote this article on mental health, and it's a very, very good article. Also, we have I'm not going to give away the cover story just yet. I'll wait till it come in and wait till I proof it. Angel Verdejo, who you guys may see in the Chop Shop. Remember, he used to write for the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. He wrote also for the Killeen newspaper and most recently the Houston Chronicle, where he covered high school sports as well as the Houston Astros before resigning to take over a position in Cypress ISD and over the media department there, which enabled him to spend more time with his family and not be a prisoner of his job, meaning that, of course, and get paid more for doing so. So this shout out to Angel. We brought him out of retirement to comprise the cover story article. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is yet until it is completed, and then I'll tease it a little bit with you guys. But Melvin Dew said we need a few stacks of the magazine in Golden Triangle. Here's what you do. If you are interested or know somebody that may have a small business or business owner or manager, and they may be interested in becoming a hub for the magazine on various parts of town, simply give me an email, chopshophtx@gmail.com. chopshophtx@gmail.com. Give me a call and I will let you know the directives and the details, because if they come a hub, they will get to keep 20% of each copy sold. We don't want nobody we're not begging nobody to be a hub and sell the magazines, but we want to go and be able to make sure that everybody has a chance to be compensated for their time. So if you know somebody, check out your barbershop, ladies, your beauty shops, ladies and men, your nail shops, the auto mechanic shop, the cleaners, the cool cup lady. Let me know, right? If somebody wants to be a hub and move the magazines around, that way I can get the addresses and we post it on the front of the website. So that's another thing that's in it for that particular business, is that we will post their location on the front of rcssports.com, and that way now people can look them up. We're going to have a directory of locations to get their copies of the magazine. All right. Now, in the college section, let's talk about the magazine. Here's what I have right here. There's a section called Texas, called a college section. We call it Texas X's, right? Each year, Doug Jones this year went through every Division I roster and did a tally and broke down the numbers, an audit, we would say, of how many players on each Division I roster, right? And he tabulated that there are, as of right now, 378 players from the state of Texas are currently on Division I rosters. 157 Division I schools have at least one Texas-based player. There are 35 conferences in the United States that have at least one Texas-based player. I say it again, 378 Texas-based players on Division I rosters, right? And I haven't went back through all of the past 10 years. I would do so over the weekend. I give myself a homework assignment, and because that's a near high for all time. I don't know if it's the high yet, but I go back through my archives and I'll let you guys know on Monday. But that's a near record high, if not a record high. 378 players from the state of Texas are currently on Division I rosters. So if you break that down and you add and you divide that, think about it. That includes fifth-year seniors. You follow me? That includes your post-grads. That includes so everything from 1 to a 5-year span. So if you think about it, now, mind you, it's not 60 post grads that are playing Division One. But if you break that down, 5 go into, let's say, 378. That's probably somewhere around 65. No, that's about 70, 72, 73, something like that. So it's 73 on the average from the state of Texas per year. If it's you break down the range, you just want to be safe. Just say 70 to 75. And that's right in sync with the number that we provided you guys when Chris Walker last week on the Chop Shop. Right? And you just tune in, Ivan Pettit. Give us a share the show. The magazine drops on November the 12th at the season opener. You guys will get your copy hot off the press. Now, which college has the most Texas-based players? Naturally, you would think the school with the most Texas-based players would be in the state of Texas, right? And if you thought that, then you're absolutely correct. Lamar has 14 players on their roster from the state of Texas. Alvin Brooks is the head coach at Lamar. He walks into the program, you follow me? 14 players from the state of Texas. That's you know what, you can go and say Lamar this year. They're basically a grassroots program on a college version of a grassroots program representing the state of Texas. If it ain't never been representing the state of Texas, that is 14 players from the state of Texas. They come in first place. Second place, we have a tie with Texas State and Texas Southern. They both have 10 players each on from the state of Texas on their roster right now. Right? And so now we go to the next category. Which out-of-state college has the most Texas-based players? Which out-of-state college has the most Texas-based players? Well, that honor would go, and I want to say for the second year in a row, Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech has 6. That's the most of any non-Texas-based college. We're talking about Division I players. That includes walk-ons. Also, guys. That includes walk-ons. We said, remember, members of your team. So, 6 with Louisiana Tech, and they just, this class of 20, the graduated class of 2022 already have 3 from Greater Houston alone coming in next year. Now, if all things go well, they may very well lose Junior Lofton. But you're going to replace him. Understand, this ain't a Houston thing or a Greater Houston thing. This is a Texas thing. So, second is Colorado State. It's a 4-way tie. Colorado State, Oral Roberts, McNeese, and IUPUI. They all have 5 on their roster. So now, this gets me to the nitty-gritty of the breakdown. The nitty-gritty is which metropolitan area in Texas has the most Division I, the most players on Division I rosters. Remember, this includes walk-ons. Which area has the most? Well, for those that don't live in Texas, there's an area we have grown to call ASAC, ASAK. That's the Austin, San Antonio, Killeen area. We call it ASAC. Well, ASAC, which has been emerging over the past few years and has been a fertile ground of talent and Division I prospects, it always have, but then they've recently produced in the past few years multiple McDonald's All-Americans from that area, including you got Jared Allen, you got Greg Brown, from there, just to name a couple. So ASAC has approximately 45 players on Division I rosters. That's good. DFW has 136. Right? Greater Houston has 167. 167. Right? So, I went and I looked back. We didn't do a magazine last year because of COVID. So I don't have the numbers from last year. I have the numbers from 2 years ago. Right? That's from 2019 to 2020. Right? And if you look at that, you see it for yourself. Look at that. Right? Greater Houston, 142. DFW, 127. ASAC had 59. ASAC, that's a dip from 2 years ago. Once again, 142 for Greater Houston 2 years ago. We're up to 167 now. DFW 136 right now, up from 127 2 years ago. So now, once again, I'll show you this number. That's from 2019, right? I went back a year before that, right? And this is 2018, right? So in 2018's magazine, let me circle them for you. Greater Houston had 140, right? DFW 116, right? So that's three. Like I said, we don't know what happened in 2020, COVID year. So we didn't do totals for that. 3 issues in a row that Greater Houston has had more than DFW, more Division I players on the rosters. Now the thing is, you guys, we keep hearing, okay, the comparison when people are saying, well, DFW is better, right? So if DFW is better, then what are you grading it on? What are you grading it on? For those of you who are saying it is better, what you mean? You're grading these high school students based on which one is going to be a professional NBA player in 3 to 4 years later? Or are you grading the high school masses on which one becomes a McDonald's All-American? What are you grading? What are you basing it on? And that's the thing. That's the question that I'm asking for you guys. And I hear narratives get painted all the time, but these are the factuals that I'm giving you guys. So that means if you're producing more Division I players, then what is the goal that you're chasing out there? What is the stick that you're using to measure this narrative? They got better facilities. Is that what it is? They got what? They got more sneaker teams? That's what I mean, what are you using to measure it? So then that way now, people like myself, I could be able to understand, right? I could be able to understand maybe where you're coming from. Because I don't get it. I don't get it. And Corey Willis says Houston is bigger. So why isn't that the antidote or the response when people saying DFW is better? Bigger than. I like that, Corey. Let me give you something to put in your pipe. Corey, open up another screen on your page and look and search population in the state of Texas. Put San Antonio versus Dallas. San Antonio versus Dallas. Look up the population according to the most recent census. And when you do that, let us know on the Boom Boom Room what you come up with. And I'm gonna give them a hint that San Antonio has more people than DFW, than Dallas. Sorry. So if San Antonio has more people than Dallas, then Austin and Killeen has more people than Fort Worth. You see? So San Antonio is bigger. If San Antonio, that's exactly. I'm glad you appreciate it, Corey Willis, because it's not the effort, not antagonizing. By no means is this conversation meant to antagonize any part of the state. I'm just trying to dispel and spray some Lysol, some mental Lysol on a bullshit rumor that's been spreaded, a myth that just circulates and regurgitates itself throughout the state over and over without people giving the ground rules from what angle they're coming from. Yes, Dallas is better than Houston in a lot of aspects. But right now, the multitude of Division I players is not what they're better than. That's a fact. McDonald's All-Americans, they're better than right now. Right now. But once again, putting the multitude of Division I players. So, for example, we're not talking about, are you measuring Power Fives? Are you measuring college first team All-Americans? You know, if that's what you're measuring, then say it. Let that be part of the stipulation, part of the ground rules that you place when you're putting it out there. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. And of course, Tim Littlefield, shout out to Tim Littlefield, he dwells within the ASAC area. He says, how many transfers? How many different schools? Most of these kids didn't finish where they started. This isn't based on their school. This list is based on their hometown. You follow me? For example, Langston Love, his hometown is Universal City. His hometown ain't where he went to school in Montverde Prep. You follow me? So we took into accord to apply the hometown, not the school they went to. That's too much. That's too much. So I hope that answered your question. And Tim, shout out to, and can't wait to see you next in 2 weeks at the season opener. And Melvin Dew says everybody just want to tell. Let me put some of these comments up because everybody different. We got 2 boom boom rooms, and I add Tim's in case you guys didn't see it. That's Tim Littlefield's question that I just addressed. How many transfers? How many different schools? Most of those kids didn't finish where they started, and so I explained that one, right? So now we go to the next one, and we'll get. Melvin Dew says everybody just want to tell where the ice is colder without even researching. Well, most people doesn't have the time to go and look this stuff up and go and break this stuff down as Doug Jones did. You know, that takes a lot of time, man. First, you got to go and type them up and collect the list. Then you got to think about it. You're counting these things up. Then you forget. Somebody call your phone or somebody call your name. You'd have lost count. Now you got to start over. So with Doug's situation, he had to type them out first. Type them all out first. That means you got them in a spreadsheet. Now it's easy to count the spreadsheet. You count the rows. Subtract the first row, that's a header row, and you count the rows. Then you sort, then you count again, you sort, count again, and that way you get to your numbers. Now guess what? It could be a margin of error of 3 or 4. That may be a kid from a certain area, but then when I filled in the gap and added up, I got my calculator and added up the Greater Houston players. That was 167 plus the 136 from the DFW players plus the 45 from the ASAC. There's only about I want to say about 30. I did it earlier. I'm gonna see if my calculator is still. No, it's not. Let me do it right now. 167 plus 136 plus 45 equals 348. That's roughly 30 players that are from other areas of the state, such as Midland, such as El Paso, such as Corpus Christi. You see, that make up that 30. I counted them up and I came up with, I think, about 26. I counted them up myself. Wichita Falls, those areas, Waco. So, and the comments, keep them going, because that I want to embrace this conversation, and so that you guys can be smarter when you hear it. And Zayad Mahmoud, he asked about the McDonald's All-Americans. I did not tabulate the McDonald's All-Americans this year in the magazine. I did it in the past, 5 issues before. We didn't do a magazine last year. However, I have a list of every McDonald's All-American from the state of Texas, right? Since 1977, when they first started the first McDonald's All-American game. Well, 1978, was the first game. The first girls game, I think, was in 2002. And if I recall, as about 3 years ago, as about 2019, 2019, the girls had passed the boys on the amount of McDonald's All-Americans from the state of Texas. You guys can look it up. I'll bring the numbers up. I'll pull them up for you if you need them. Matter of fact, I got the numbers from the magazine. See, look, this is an article from the magazine. I'm not joking. I do it every year. This is from 2019. And I'll put this up there for you guys. That way you can read it yourself. Look here. Read that last paragraph. Right? Read that last paragraph. There you go. Now, as of 3 years ago, the girls had passed the boys up. That's how many girls the state of Texas has been spitting out for McDonald's All-American. And so I hope that answered your question. Overtime players, is it going to be more? I don't understand what you mean by that. They are not counted toward this number because they're not on Division I roster. And sure enough, Greater Houston lost one player. Well, none of those players on Division I. All those had high school eligibility. I'm sorry. So that doesn't even count right now. They will count and hurt next year's graduating class. A kid like Bryce Griggs would. Remember, Tyler Smith was 2023, right? And Santini Louise, right, posed a good question. And here it goes. Right? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Here you go. He says, what are the sources? The sources that we use, Doug Jones went and combed through every Division I roster in the United States of America, the men's basketball. Upon doing so, on your roster, it always has a hometown. Now, this is where the margin of error at, because what happens is you may have a player, let's use not Quentin Grimes, but what's the young man's name from you guys help me out, plays for the Charlotte Hornets that went to Bush High School, then went to Finley Prep. Kelly Oubre. Thank you. Let's say Kelly Oubre for an example. Which kind of not a good. Let's say Kelly Oubre finished from Bush High School. When he went to college at Kansas, notice it says for his hometown, it said New Orleans. So that's the kind of thing that the margin of error, that it may be a margin of error, small, maybe a 1% margin of error, because there may be some kid that may be from a school that may have played at the I school in Dallas, that Doug Jones may not have recognized his name, and he might have used his real hometown once he got to college. So that's the catch-22 to it. And guess what? Once you guys get the magazine, you get a copy. Let us know if there's a kid that's not in there for a particular college that's from the state of Texas. And that way now we can update that list and have the running tab. And we'll probably put an online edition out there. And Melvin Deuce, I guess he reiterated and clarified his question. And the question was, who had more overtime players, Houston or Dallas? Well, we have two from Greater Houston this year. So I think two. DFW doesn't have more than two. So just make it simple. Right now, we have. Coach Favre says, well, Chris is, I think he's traveling today and on the East Coast. He's in New York City. He's back at home in New York. Well, he's home away from home. And I'm looking at some of the comments, guys. And that's what I want to do. I want to share that with you, that intel. Once again, just tuning in, the amount of Texas. Once again, this is going to be in the magazine, but this article, but it's going to look a lot different than what it is. This is my paper version. See all this stuff? I put all those paper clips and all that with ads. This is my version of the magazine as we lay it out. I'm from the old school. I don't like to look at it on the computer, but this is for some of you guys if you want to take a picture with your cell phone. And let me see how whatnot. That's what I'm reading from. So, but my point was, and the point I was trying to drive to you guys is that, stop letting people tell you anything. And if it's better, and if Division I is what a lot of you guys are seeking, that's the measuring stick, it's the goal for many of people that's playing basketball, then guess what? Then ask your retaliating or your response should be, well, if they're better, then ask the person, what are they comparing? What are they using to compare? And Lawrence Scott, yes, we are probably going to do a digital copy of the magazine, but we'll have it somewhere you can order a hard copy and we'll put it in the mail for you. And the hard copies are going to, I'm telling you something about the magazine. This thing, I'm telling you, is off the chain. And you guys understand, every page is color. Understand, every page is color. This is last year's, 2 years ago, the issue. We had an article on the top 100 players of all time from Greater Houston. We went in the top 100 of all time. And that's Chris Walker right there. And, for many of you guys, if you live in Houston and you don't know who this guy is right here, and something wrong. This is D. Rob Williams. This article right here. This is what type of stuff, and hopefully in the next year's edition that I can get Chuck McCown, Trey Phillips, some of the guys that and some of the girls. I picked some of the brains and same method I use on the board and help me comprise a top 100 girls list of all time. When I say of all time, we base the list basically on 1968 when integration kicked in. That's when we started it at. So, like I say, you guys make sure it's only gonna be $5. One thing about me, I'm not trying to gauge you guys with prices, because if my product is going to be good enough, that once you get it, you're going to be hooked. And I make it $5 because I don't like pricing a magazine. I'm making a kid, a student, have to decide, do he go and feed himself or get a copy of this magazine? $5, he can get that. You can get that out the ashtray. So $5. Now you're going to get a copy mailed to you. It'll be $10 for the one copy for shipping and handling. And yes, Monica Lamb will definitely be on that list. Ain't no doubt about it, Rod Wells. Monica Lamb and actually Monica Lamb would be one of the person that I would pick her brain. As we've had on the Chop Shop a couple of times, I'll pick her brain and ask her, about other players that possibly could be on the list, like a Donna Roper. From out of Yates High School. I started on it, but I didn't have enough, didn't pick enough brains, And remind you, let me show you guys something. In case you didn't know, the magazine, this was the centerfold of the magazine back in 2005. In 2005, right? You see the Uwe McKay is down at the bottom right there. That's Kelsey Bone. That's the little girl from Cinco Ranch. There was two of them. They called one of them biscuits and the other one was gravy. I mean, we've done girls before, guys. Look at this. Came out the magazine. This was Centerfold. This was the magazine. In 2000, I'm sorry, I said 2005. In 2006 issue of the magazine. We dabbled with it, but could never find a person that was serious about it, that want to go with it. I put my funding behind it. If somebody want to do it, meaning because everybody's time isn't free. Understand something. So little bitty things like that in projects like the magazine, which takes a lot of damn time to put together, is one of the reasons why you see that I can get to feel in some kind of way when people come and slide up into the city or come into this space, and all of a sudden after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, they say, well, you know what, I'm the greatest, or they're the greatest. When you see this magazine this year, everything that we're doing is getting better. Like LeBron James is kind of like, feel like he's peaking at year 7 in the recent years. But we get better at doing this stuff. And the Chop Shop is a platform that you guys, we utilize to serve you guys and keep you guys abreast on how to navigate through and around myths. And yes, Odyssey, Simi Colson, I would definitely pick Simi's brain on a lot of those girls, from even when his daughter Sydney Colson from Westside High School, when she was grooving back in around 2007, something like that. And I've been knowing Simi. Simi been knowing me. He's older than me. Simi been knowing me since I was, since I was a little boy in 5th Ward. So he's been around. He knows because he's friends with my family, my first cousins. So that's the thing on that. Yes, honestly, that was Lauren Flores from North Shore on that pick. And Yes, and Clarence Harris, they put it up there for you. That $5 price makes it where if you don't get it, you don't like basketball or you a hater. That's why I made it so low. I put it at a price point. Whereas, and you know what else? I'm going to tell you something. Let me show you what else is inside this book, this magazine. The one that's, you know what I'm saying? Show you what's inside this. Very important. Look. District schedules for all schools in Greater Houston, guys. The district schedules was inside the magazine. Dude, this thing is that's why I call it the Houston's Basketball Bible. That's what it is. It's everything you need to get you through the season. Some of you guys need to buy 2. They're only $5. Keep one in your car, one in your office or at home. Because somebody's going to take one. You're going to let somebody read it. Somebody's going to beat you for it. I can pretty much tell you that. And that's the thing that I wanted to get at you guys. And yeah, that was definitely for Chris Walker. He happens to be traveling on the day that the Lakers blow that 26-point lead. We talked about the Lakers earlier, and you're right. Let's not allow Chris to forget, right? When he on Monday, and guess what? If the Cowboys lose, Chris ain't coming back on Monday. Y'all know that. But meanwhile, guys, I just want to get that to you. It's time. I got to get back into work. I have to get back into the magazine and finish up so we can meet deadline. We got advertisements in there as well. A lot of different people. Some people that watch the Chop Shop emailed the advertisement in, and they will have their ad in the magazine. And just in case some of you guys wonder what some of the ads look like, let me go to some of the ads. This is a spring icebreaker ad, a Chop Shop ad. That's from a couple of years ago. I mean, remember saying something. Your ads are in color, in glossy, on 100-pound paper. The ads, and there's an insurance ad, right? From KB Boyd. His son used to play, I think, at back in the day, a few years ago. We got Exotic Pop had an ad in there. Some of you guys from the South Side recognize those faces. At least 3 of those 4 faces from the South Side of Houston. In the we call them rap legends. Rest in peace, DJ Screw, Big Mo, Fat Pat, and Pimp C, of course, from Port Arthur, Texas. Those are just some of the ads that was from. But we have a record number of advertisements will be in this year's magazine. You guys, I mean, like I say, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff. And Sydney Ship says, I wish you would have, let me add that to the show. There you go. So I wish you would have called me about placing an ad. Is it too late? Let me know. I put it like this. If you have a full page ad, I'll make room for it because I don't have to move nothing around. But if it's a half page, it's too late. That's too much work because I got to find real estate to get it on the page with. If it's full page ad, I can get it. Just send me an email, and I'll get you the specs ASAP. But you have to get the ad in like within 24 hours, right? So once again, we are getting ready to land the plane, guys. And Clarence Harris, can he get 20 and sell this for $15? I don't care what you're selling for, Clarence Harris. As long as you're not at one of my events selling them for that price. You get them, and you want to get some wholesale, I'll give you some wholesale. And that way you'll be able to make you something off of those magazines. Because it is definitely worth it. Think about it. Fundraisers for your schools. if your son plays, if he plays and starts on varsity, or if he came to Rucker on Wood, you can let the booster club know. You can sell, just like you sell hot dogs. What's the margin on some of the things items you sell in the Gatorade, bottled water? You can sell the magazines. Well, the margin of profit on the magazine is you're going to get 20% profit. 20% of the sales go. You get to keep it. So it ain't like you get it to me and I cut you another check. You get to keep it out the back. So that means basically $1 off every copy sold. You get to keep. If it's 20%, you sell it for $5. You might want to sell it for more than $5. It's on you. But that's the ticket on that. And I see Chuck McKay he's naming a whole bunch of females that would be on that top 100 list. And so that is Moody. Yes, Mikey Williams, I guess the deal has been official. He signed with Puma. The rumor came out about 2 weeks ago. And signed a deal with Puma. We'll talk about that and elaborate on that on Monday, because this weekend Mikey Williams will play against the overtime, one of the overtime elite teams. They open their season this Saturday, guys. This weekend. They play their first games. So I want to say it's Friday and Saturday. But I know because I talked with one of the guys that work up there. So they play. So all eyes. One thing about it, we're going to see. Remember, the viewership. The online digital footprint of that league. We're going to see what happens in that first game. Mikey Williams and his school will play there. They just finished on their gymnasium, so their gym is completed. They will play in their own quote unquote arena. But anyway, thanks a bunch, guys. We got to get up out of here. I got to get to work. It was fun. It was fun sharing intel with you guys. Thanks. If you guys can share the show, that would be a great lift for me and the Chop Shop. Share the show on your way out the door is what we ask you to do. We thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for the questions that you have for me. I had a couple other stuff in the mailbag, but I don't have time to get to it now. I got to get to work and finish this magazine so that we can get to the printer. We got to go to proof on Friday evening. Then we go to print on Monday. So proof is when you get to the magazine and proof some of the stuff. Make sure everything is right. Drop some of the pictures in there, and then the photos that on different pages, and then we go to the printer on Monday. Then November the 1st. Also on Monday, we will be releasing the schedule for the Hoops Giving Classic, which takes place November the 24th, right? November the 24th at Houston Christian School, right? And what else we had over there? And I'm looking at some of the comments. I don't know which of the overtime teams, Rod. I'm quite sure they're not coming there for one game. So I would think that they would play more than one game, that particular school. So I haven't looked at the schedule, but the schedule is online. You can go to that overtime, their feed or their social media page or their website and check it out. But anyway, guys, time to slide on down. Dino's back. And Yabba Dabba do this thing on this baby Friday. It is on the Chop Shop. Once again, I appreciate everything from you guys. Thanks so much. But if you haven't done so, do me the solid. Share the show on your way out the door. Also, let's get over to the YouTube page on our rush to 1,000. We're sitting at 927 subscribers. We are only 73 subscribers away from our goal of 1,000. Hopefully we can get that 73 before November the 3rd, because you know what November the 3rd is. That is my birthday. And we get this thing together. That way we can have a big old feast, or a big, I guess a little gathering of such for the Chop Shop viewers in celebration of getting to that 1,000. Once again, guys, thanks so much. I'm Jim Hicks. Let's share that show one more time on your way out the door. Thanks to everybody. We appreciate it. Also, send me the emails, Mr. Ship, if you want to get that ad posted into the magazine. I can get it done for you. Thanks a bunch, guys. And thanks, Jerry Jones. We got 928 now with subscribers now. I'll just click that button and encourage one more person to do so. That's what I'm asking you guys to do. Encourage one more person. If each of you encourage one person to do so, then we are solid, right? So, with that being said, we are going to, let me see how we rock on up out of here. And I'll see you guys on Monday. Peace. Chop Shop. We about.
Jim Hicks, Rob Hatter, you are now tuned in to the Chop Shop. I'm Retro. Let's get it. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, we live in the Chop Shop. We talking sports talk, we live in the Chop Shop. We in the Chop Shop, I'm talking sports talk. So turn your dials up, it's live in the Chop Shop. Yeah, it's lit in the Chop Shop. Turn your dials up in the drop top. They ain't based in debate, but they keep it fact straight. Going 30 for 30. Let's do a first take on Facebook Live from 12 to 2. Rob Hatter and Jim Hicks going back and forth like Claude Ray, Skip Bayless, and Stephen Smith. From on the court, off the court, straight to the field. Not a man that steals, but I made it steal. To the octagon where I fight to kill. We go face to face, then you write your will. I don't play tennis, but I bring the racket. I'm on the floor, I attack the basket. Put you in the casket when I'm overlapping. Never showing mercy, cause I'm always snapping. Never showing mercy when I'm in the arena. Step into the ring, you see me as I beat him. Step into the court.